This is going to be Sergio Perez being impeded by Lewis Hamilton, and I dare say the Mexican is not happy.
That's well out of his way. Yeah, no sweat.
Carlos Sainz needed this lap to get in. Sainz across the line to the top. What a lap from Carlos Sainz. He needed that. The man who's heading to Williams next year goes fastest of all and safely into Q2. What a lap. Charles Leclerc next across the line. He makes it a Ferrari 1-2 as he goes second. Lovely stuff from the Ferraris. Perez needs this lap to get through as George Russell next across the line. Russell goes to the top, and the man who was disqualified from the win at the Belgian Grand Prix does find himself at the top, but in qualifying here in Zandvoort at the end of Q1. Here's Sergio Perez, who's fighting for a future with Red Bull and a future in Formula 1. Perez across the line, and he goes to the top by 0.04 of a second. And it's Ricciardo, Ocon, Bottas, Joe and Sargent out of qualifying.
That's P1. Through next Q2. Yeah, but we waste a set, so please. Yeah, we can. Worse than that, I mean penalty, so I don't expect any less. Yeah, we control what we control. It has been reported.
So Gasly has done well, but not his teammate Esteban Ocon. He's out along with Ricciardo, Bottas, Joe and Sargent, who didn't take part following his heavy crash in FP3. That's the 5 out. Perez fastest. Here comes Perez across the line. He goes up to 4th. That might be good enough to get him into Q3. He's ahead of his teammate Verstappen. But what about the likes of Carlos Sainz and Lance Stroll? On board with Sainz, and he's down on Stroll at the end of the middle sector. Albon with an impressive lap to go 5th. Lance Stroll has gone quickest through the first sector, and he's hoping to get himself into Q3. Hamilton needs a lap as well, as Alonso goes 8th and pushes Hamilton down to 10th, and he's right on the bubble. Here comes Carlos Sainz across the line. Sainz goes 9th with a quick final sector, but is that going to be good enough? We will find out. Here's Lance Stroll coming up to the line now in the Aston Martin. He crosses the line as Stroll, and he goes 4th. A great lap for him. That should definitely see him into Q3. What about Hamilton? He crosses the line. No! He's out! Lewis Hamilton is out, and the man who won in Spa is out in Zandvoort in the end of Q2. Leclerc across the line. He goes 6th and pushes Sainz out. Two big shocks out in Q2. Sainz and Hamilton are out. Sainz out qualifying the man who's replacing him at Ferrari next year. But they're both out. Sainz, Hamilton, Tsunoda and the two Hasses of Hulkenberg and Madison are out. What a shock at the end of Q2. Sainz and Hamilton out. Here comes Oscar Piastri, the man who took his maiden Grand Prix win in Hungary, looking to get himself to the top of the timing sheets, and he does at the moment with a 1:10.193 for Oscar Piastri. But here's the man who's been on pole at this track for the last 3 years. Can he do it again? Not at the moment. He's behind Piastri, not by much, by only 300ths. But here comes the man who is fighting Verstappen all the way for the championship, and he goes to pole with a 1:10.0. Lando Norris has made it onto pole once again. Lovely stuff from the Brit. As Charles Leclerc across the line, he goes up to 4th. Now we'll see what George Russell can do. Here comes George Russell, the man who was sadly disqualified from the win at the Belgian Grand Prix due to the car being underweight. He's fighting very hard to try and get another one this season, and he goes up to 4th fastest. Does George Russell. Decent lap, but not fast enough. This is it then. Max Verstappen starts what is his final flying lap in this qualifying session. He's pushing it all to the limit and hoping to put it on pole for a 4th consecutive year here at Zandvoort. As he was a bit wide there, riding the curb, I should say. Verstappen is coming to the end of the first sector now, and he's a 10.5 down on Norris. It's a personal best, but Verstappen is still slower than Norris in the first sector. What about Norris? What's he going to do? He's up in sector 1, and he's over 0.2 quicker than Verstappen through the first sector. Surely Norris might be looking good for pole, and Perez is down on him and Verstappen, as you can see. But Perez has matched Verstappen in the first sector, but Norris is absolutely flying. Verstappen has found time in the second sector. Again, really squirrely coming through the chicane there. But Norris has not gone purple in the middle sector, but he's still a 10.5 up of Verstappen on the lap. Surely Norris is looking good for pole, but here comes Verstappen up to the line. Perez is out of it. Verstappen up to the line, and he's done it. A 1:10.029 for Max Verstappen. He's on pole at the moment, but will Lando Norris deny him pole? He Norris on pole again by the margin of 3.5 tenths of a second. Perez has formed its Red Bull, it's McLaren Red Bull, the top four at the moment. But what can Oscar Piastri do in his fight against Verstappen for the front row? Russell's out of the contention for pole. He was 3 tenths down on what Norris did in the first sector. Piastri hoping to find pace, and he's lost time in the second sector. He needs a super final sector if he wants to join Norris on the front row. The McLaren's fighting it all again here, and they're really showing that they've got a car that can really fight for both world championships. Here comes Oscar Piastri. Can he put his car on the front row? He's coming up to the line now. Can he do it? No, he's lost time. He's half a second off pole and a tenth away for Verstappen. Piastri only third. Norris is on pole by 3.5 tenths of a second. He's going to take some beating in the Grand Prix tomorrow. Now it's down to Russell. He crosses the line and he goes ahead of Perez up to 4, but not enough to deny Lando Norris a 3rd pole of the year and a 4th career pole in Formula 1. The Brit is on it so far weekend, and the man who's got 1 victory so far in Formula 1 is looking good for a 2nd so far this weekend as he takes pole at Zandvoort and his 3rd pole of the year and his 4th one.
Lovely work. What a nice job.
Lando Norris will say to the others, catch me if you can. It will be Norris and Verstappen fighting again. Will Verstappen find Norris victory? We'll find out tomorrow. It's Norris on pole for a 3rd time this year.